What if holiness isn't about perfection, but about practice? In Holy Habits, you'll experience the small, consistent rhythms that build a life of purpose and peace. From reading scripture to finding mentors, these habits don't just change what you do, they change who you become. Join Sycamore Creek for this 6-week series leading up to Easter. Holy Habits, small choices, sacred rhythms, a life that lasts.
I am coaching Mark to be less Dutch in his responses in this message. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. All right, Mike, Mike.
Good start.
What the heck? Where did that come from? Microphone?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the microphone. All right, Mark, we're trying something completely different today.
We are. I have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, you have zero prep for this conversation sermon. I had this vision in my head of this mashup of like a podcast and a specific kind of podcast. You know, it's like there's the expert host who then walks somebody through what they found.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying that with you today. I've done all the work and your job is just to respond.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
All right. Are you ready to respond?
I'm ready to respond.
Okay. When I went to seminary, I had this amazing experience. There was like this philanthropist in Atlanta who would pay for seminarians to go to the Middle East for 3 weeks. And
Whoa.
You paid $900 and then he paid all the rest.
That's it? That's an amazing experience.
It was absolutely amazing. And we saw all kinds of amazing things. I got some pictures of them here.
Okay.
So this is your chance to respond spontaneously. You've never seen,
I've
you
never
may have seen some of these pictures.
Yeah.
But here we go. All right. One of them was the Croix de Chevalier. This was in Syria. Absolutely amazing Crusader castle. There's Petra. Does that look familiar?
It looks familiar from like movies and stuff.
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then that's Mount Sinai.
Oh wow, cool.
I had one of the worst experiences of my life.
Oh, you rode a camel.
A camel up Mount Sinai in the dark.
Ooh.
I hated riding a camel.
Okay.
It was bad on the groin. So
Ouch.
I would have rather
I've ridden a horse, and that can be
walked up Mount Sinai. Yeah, they're girthy animals.
Okay.
I mean, a camel's more girthy than a horse. So
yeah.
All right, then there's. Let's see. This is the Sea of Galilee. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I should quiz you.
Oh boy.
Yeah. These are like Holy Land. All right.
Yeah.
Where's this? This one's got to be easy.
The Dead Sea.
Dead Sea.
I can see that. You're floating away.
Floating on like higher in the water. Gonna come back to that. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what that
That's
is.
the Temple Mount.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Jerusalem.
So that's exactly.
Okay.
So then this is of course why there's the what this is.
The Wailing Wall.
The Wailing Wall.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Jews are wailing that there's a Muslim temple on the top of the Temple Mount. So, and then one last one, which you probably don't necessarily recognize.
I have no idea what I'm looking at there.
You see one ancient ruins, you've seen them all. Like
Yeah.
that was my experience over 3 weeks.
Okay.
But this is Athens.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so this would have been.
It doesn't look like you're in Israel.
Yeah,
there.
I think it's like the Acropolis, if I'm remembering right. Paul would have stood there and preached at the Acropolis. We're talking today, in fact, the form of this message is kind of like what we're talking about.
Okay.
These are all places that I went and saw, but what I had along with me were guides. And this is Max Miller. He was one of our guides. He was at the time, or he in a earlier time than this, he was a professor of Old Testament and Candler School of Theology at Emory University. That's a mouthful.
That is.
And he was kind of one of our primary guides. But then there was also Steve McKenzie, who is professor of Hebrew and the Hebrew Bible and Old Testament at Rhodes College. These are like serious scholars who were along with us.
It's a much different experience having them along when you're going to all the places you just showed me.
Absolutely. And we spent 2 or 3 days in a classroom before we ever went to the Middle East. And this was one of the biggest takeaways I took from that moment. They said, the more that you know, the more you'll see.
Ooh.
So the more you know,
the more you'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a PhD in molecular biology. So when you look at molecule. I don't know what a
really?
cell of a body.
Science,
yeah, you see
like,
more
I'm
than
see
the
more.
average person sees, right?
Yeah.
So Max and Steve were like, the more you know, the more you'll see. So they probably saw a lot more than the rest of us. But the guide that really like stuck out to me was, we had a guide. His name was Peter, and Peter was a Palestinian Catholic. And when we got into Jerusalem, he was our guide. So we spent, I don't know, 5 or 6 days in Jerusalem. And he also then took us into the West Bank. And if you go into the West Bank, like there's, I mean, it is a serious, you know, you can see like the barbed wire, look how big those walls are. It's pretty intense just to get like to Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And
it would be.
Peter shared a devotional while we were on the Sea of Galilee. And this, it was about the Dead Sea. This is a picture of the Dead Sea. And the devotional was about the Jordan River and the Dead Sea. And so here's a map. You probably, this looks familiar. There's the Sea of Galilee up at the top.
And then the Jordan River flows south.
Exactly.
Eventually ends at the Dead Sea.
And there's the Dead Sea. But do you know why the Dead Sea is called the Dead Sea?
I think there's nothing, like it doesn't flow anywhere from there.
Exactly.
Like it just
stops. Yeah. So the Jordan Valley flows from the north to the south and into the Dead Sea, and it just like it evaporates. So that's why the salt content in the Dead Sea is so high, because it doesn't, like, it only receives water and then it evaporates, and the water doesn't go anywhere. And this devotional that we were out on this fishing boat in the Sea of Galilee, and he said the Dead Sea is like, so he's a Catholic, so he's a person of faith, Palestinian, and he's telling us like that the Dead Sea is dead because it only receives and doesn't give.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, like, right, like that has stuck with me ever since. And is this guide Peter who opened my imagination to this way of seeing this huge water feature, which is prominent throughout the whole Bible in so many ways.
It is very prominent.
All right, there's no way I would have gotten all of that just from textbooks. I had to go there. I had to have somebody who showed me this, and this influenced all kinds of things. It influenced how I preach, how I read the Bible, how I think about geopolitics. Like, it's just, in fact, I think for some ways, like, that philanthropist who sent us all there, it was just so that we wouldn't say stupid stuff from the pulpit. It's real easy to say stupid stuff when you have zero, like,
real experience with a place.
Real experience with it.
Yeah.
So Max, Steve, and Peter were my guides. They were my coaches through those 3 weeks in the Middle East. All right, you have like a PhD, you've done all kinds of education. Is there somebody, maybe it's in your education, maybe it's something else in life. Has there been like somebody who's guided you through something to help you see something you wouldn't have seen otherwise?
Well, sure. I mean, you mentioned my education. I would go there right away.
Yeah.
There's one particular professor who I can think of. I went to Calvin University for my undergraduate.
Okay.
And that's really where I got into science. I mean, like, I was exposed to it a little bit in high school, but in college we really went deep.
Yeah. And Calvin's Christian, so it's like science and faith.
It is. And so, every class, every lab experience I had, it was not just what do we see here scientifically, but like, how is God at work through this? And what the professor did, and his name was John Ubels, super important in my life. I worked in his laboratory for over a year. We did all kinds of eye research. It was really cool stuff. But asking questions and like figuring out how stuff works by asking good questions is something that, a lot of times we just look at things and we're just like, oh, that's cool. But what I learned is that if you can figure out how it works, like why does a tree have leaves, and like what do the leaves do, and like why is the sky blue, and like when a jet flies through and you see like a contrast, what causes that? Like, when you learn to ask those questions,
I
and
thought that was because the
answers,
government was spraying us with chemicals.
That's absolutely what it is. I'm glad you figured it out. He just opened my eyes. Like you said, like there's stuff that you see that you wouldn't see otherwise. And Dr. Ubels was a huge part of that.
Yeah,
for me.
so he was not just teaching you something; he was really kind of giving you a way to live,
Absolutely.
of asking questions,
Yes.
being curious about the world.
Yes.
All right, nice job, by the way, coming up with a example on the fly, because again, you haven't prepared for this at all.
I haven't prepared for this at all.
You're just sitting there. There's no notes.
Nope, there's no notes in front of me, anything.
I'm like showing you slides and pictures in front of you, but that's it. All right. So, we like to stop and ask questions and give people a chance to talk. So here's a chat question for people. Who's someone who didn't just teach you something, but showed you how to live it?
Ooh.
All right. So turn to a neighbor or put your answer in the chat. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, get through some stuff here.
Look at you with your fancy, like you can see like your camera, pet geek.
That's pretty cool.
All right, Mike.
We totally fed you that one.
I'm really like sliding into dimension now. All right, Mark, pop quiz. What's the name of the series we're in?
Holy Habits.
Holy Habits.
Series.
Yeah,
yes.
and it's based on
based on a book of that name.
Yeah, what's the name of the book? Noah.
Holy Habits.
Oh, good job. Yeah, so you got the name and the author there.
And the author.
Noah Heron. So one of the things we've been reflecting on through this whole series is this basic idea that we built a faith that relies on moments rather than movements. Mm-hmm. And then the holy habits help us like have kind of movements or rhythms. So
yeah, we're going deep through these holy habits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you remember the definition of a holy habit?
Oh, I could maybe paraphrase it.
Go for it. All right.
It's basically these are daily habits that help us to stay in love with God.
Boom, right there. I didn't even put the slide on the screen for you. Holy habits, daily habits that help us stay in love with God. And then Paul, I've been saying Paul-ish because scholars debate about whether Paul wrote it. So Paul, so somebody wrote Timothy a letter. Let's just call him Paul. And Paul says, while physical training is of some value, godliness is valuable in every way, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. And then one of the key phrases we've used from this book, or the key quotes from Noah Heron, is that an encounter with Jesus introduces us to Jesus, but our daily habits allow us to get to know Jesus. Mm-hmm. So today's holy habit begins in my hometown of Indianapolis.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready? I'm going to go Hoosier geek on you here.
The Hoosier State.
Are you ready?
Okay,
all right.
Yeah.
Do you know who this guy is?
No.
That's Reggie Wayne.
Oh, okay.
From
you
recognize
Colts,
you recognize the name.
Yeah, I recognize the name, and I recognize. Well, once you say it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Do you know anything about Reggie Wayne?
No, not a lot.
No. I didn't know anything about Reggie Wayne either, but until I was working on this message. I grew up rooting for the Colts, but I'm not a huge sports fan. I like follow NFL at the Super Bowl time, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. But the more that I learned about this guy, the more impressed I became.
Okay.
He's obviously a player from the Indianapolis Colts. He played for 14 seasons, and he is for sure a future Hall of Famer, although there's a backlog right now, and that's a big point of contention, particularly in his position. He is one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history. So,
as soon as you said his name, I was like, oh yeah.
You recognize the name, even though you're not you don't follow the Colts.
I don't follow the Colts, but I know who he is.
So let me reel you with some of his stats. Okay. Here we go. He is one of only 9 players in the NFL history with at least 1,000 receptions, 14,000 yards. So how many football fields is that?
14,000.
Yeah, 14,000 yards is Mr. Scientist.
140? I'm trying to think of the...
I think is it 140? 140 football fields. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. 80 touchdowns. He is in the top 10 all-time in postseason reception yards and touchdowns. But, so how did this guy get this way?
Yeah.
How did he get this way?
That's always the question when a guy's super successful like that.
So here's what made him different. He insisted on being coached like a rookie every single year.
Oh, wow.
I mean, here's one of the best players in this position of all time. And even at the peak of his career, he wanted to be coached like he was a brand new player. And so the preseason culture for a lot of veteran NFL stars, somebody who's in his position, would be to skip practice, sit out on the pre-games. Like, I don't want to get hurt and save, like, all this sort of stuff. Like, just showing up when it counts. You protect your body, but not Reggie Wayne. He was different. He was the first one there. He was the last one to leave every single day.
Wow.
This is impressive dedication. And he loved to have every detail of his play scrutinized. He wanted every move that he did on the field corrected, every weakness exposed. And this is like what he realized. He realized that, like, talent without coaching is wasted potential.
Whoa.
Talent without coaching is wasted potential.
That's pretty unusual in the like professional sports world. It seems like usually you see guys who, like, the more and more successful they get, the more they get like, you can't tell me what to do, or like, I'm so good, like, I don't need a coach, like, or I'll be the coach even though there is a professional coach. Like, I'm going to tell everyone what to do.
Yeah, you can absolutely, when you get to that level. And of course, he had one of the best coaches. Well, he had a couple different coaches, but he was there during Tony Dungy's, like, reign.
Yeah, he was a great
at the
coach.
Colts, who was an incredible coach. So this is a guy who's already great, but he wanted to be greater. And he knew that he couldn't do it alone. He needed the coaches around him. All right, Heron tells a story about sort of something similar, but more at the level of like a pastor. And at the time, Heron was doing college ministry. This is like, it might have looked something like this. And there are hundreds of students. Like, there's this huge growth that's happening in this college ministry that he's in charge of. He's doing this podcast, Noah Heron is, and it's going national. And there's like pastors from out of state coming to see what he's doing. You can imagine kind of how you're getting a big head in the midst of all of this. And like, all of it looked great. But then God said something to him one day. And I don't know, this really resonated with me. He heard God say, "You have an impressive ministry that looks nothing like me."
Oh, ouch. Wow.
You have an impressive ministry that looks nothing like me. Wow. That's like a serious gut punch. And the Heron's like, well, he started to think about it. He's like, yeah, that's true. This is impressive and successful. And he basically is like, we're making consumers, not disciples. Disciple is a really churchy word. How would you unpack that word?
I mean, I think a disciple is someone who really truly follows Jesus. Like, you're not, just there to like listen to what Jesus has to say and like consume it, but you're going to live it out. Yeah.
It's like an apprentice.
Yeah.
Or a teammate and a coach. Like, it's that dynamic. So Heron asked God, who should I disciple? Who should I like go deep with, not just like gather these crowds of people? And God kept pointing to this one kid, like this obnoxious freshman. This is not an actual picture of the kid, but this is the closest I could come to a picture of somebody that looked like an obnoxious freshman.
Okay.
And he describes this kid, this guy's like immature, girl crazy, always trying to impress people. It's like the worst possible candidate. I mean, look at this dude. This is not an apprentice of Jesus, or he doesn't seem to be. But the kid keeps showing up and asking Noah to get together for coffee. And Noah's like dodging him. And then eventually he gives in. And he sits down with this kid. And he's like, he doesn't really want to like invest in this kid. So he sets the bar really high. He's like, okay, if you're going to do this, then this is how it's going to be. And he tells him, I'll be your friend, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. I mean, I don't know. This is what he said. I'm going to include you in everything. Quiet time, sermon prep, grocery shopping.
Whoa. Okay.
All of it. But you have to take it seriously. I mean, he's like, in some ways, I think he's like trying to set the bar so high that the kid won't jump over.
Quit, right?
Like,
no, I don't really want that.
Yeah, I thought I wanted that, but no, I don't want that. But the kid says, yes, I'll do it. And a year later, Noah walks into a coffee shop, and here's this kid sitting with another kid. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm discipling this kid.
Wow.
And he had become a leader of leaders. Like this obnoxious freshman a year later is now leading people. Completely not what Noah's first impression of who he was. So I don't know, again, this like consumer like becomes the coach.
Yeah.
Because somebody Noah invested in them. All right, here. Now, again, I'm throwing you something totally off. You haven't prepared for this, but
I haven't.
But this is something you're really good at, so I think you won't have any problem. Who's somebody you're coaching right now?
Oh,
like you meet with people all the time.
I do meet with people all the time.
Yeah.
I think in order to get there, I just would start with the experience of the obnoxious freshman really resonated with me.
Okay.
Because that was me.
Oh, yeah?
That was me in high school.
You were immature, girl crazy.
I was immature.
Obnoxious.
I was obnoxious. And a youth pastor at our church was willing to meet with me. And he set a super high bar. Like he and I read all kinds of deep theological works together. We met regularly. And I learned from him the value of meeting regularly with people.
Yeah. You meet with people more regularly than I do, from what I can tell. Like you have this really robust...
I love meeting with people one-on-one. And so I think it's hard for me to just say one person.
Yeah, sure.
I meet with every director from Sycamore Creek regularly. I meet with every coordinator regularly. And
directors and coordinators are?
Directors are people who are overseeing things across ministries across Sycamore Creek.
Yeah.
So just as an example, this morning I met with Chuck Bird, who is our finance director.
Yeah.
Super grateful for Chuck. And Chuck is one of the people I would say who I'm...
Are you just talking money with Chuck?
No, we're talking everything.
Yeah.
We do talk about money, but we talk about life. We talk about how we're doing. We talk about our faith.
It's not just a business meeting.
Yes. And that's true in all the director meetings that I have. And then coordinators are people who oversee something at a campus and like are organizing volunteers at a campus. And it's the same thing there. And so we're not just talking about how to accomplish tasks. We're talking about who we are and who we're becoming,
how you do
and
life.
like how we're doing life together. And to me, that question of like who you are and who you're becoming, those are discipleship questions.
Yeah.
Like that's just not consuming. That's how are you living things out.
And there's a way I think that you and I and Pastor McKell, we like co-coach each other because we meet every week and just check in on how we're doing, and we do that for like an hour and a half to 2 hours before we get to any of the business.
Yeah, we do.
All right, so we're going to stop here for a minute and give people a chance to talk. Who is someone that you could potentially coach or apprentice or disciple or invest in? Let's talk about it. Hello, Mike.
Did you even see it?
No, I didn't. Wait. What the heck? How did you do that? Like,
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't even think you looked at it. Like, you just went and had fun clicking it.
Oh my gosh! All right, we got to wrap all this up at this point. Like, how do we tie this all together? And
let's do that.
Let's go back to the Bible here, and you probably know the story of Saul becoming. You want to tell the story of Saul becoming Paul?
Sure,
do it. Go for it. Give it a try.
Stab at it. Saul is this. He's kind of like a Pharisee, right? He's super trained in the Jewish faith, and he's like a protector of it. And so one of the things he's trying to protect it from is this new movement, this Jesus follower movement. And so he's involved in arresting people who follow Jesus.
Yeah.
He's there, and the Bible says like he holds the cloaks of people when they kill Stephen.
Yeah, that's what this picture is like from that moment where he's overseeing the killing of Stephen.
Later in letters, like Paul will brag about how zealous he was at that time. Like he's super passionate. But then his life completely changes.
Yeah.
He, is on the road to Damascus and has this just incredibly powerful encounter with Jesus. He's blinded through that encounter. And then while he's blind, he's encouraged to go to someone's house. This person who he's supposed to go meet is also encouraged to accept Saul.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know if I want to accept him. Like,
who's that guy's name?
Saul?
No, the guy that he meets with.
That I'm blanking on.
Oh my gosh, Barnabas.
Yeah, Barnabas.
Barnabas. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. There's Saint Barnabas right there.
Cool. So he meets with Barnabas,
Mm-hmm.
and in meeting with Barnabas, Barnabas is like, scared about it, but Paul regains his sight.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole situation just completely transforms
Mm-hmm.
Saul to who we call Paul now, and he becomes this passionate follower of Jesus, where he goes and like disciples other people.
Yeah,
and shares.
they become a team.
Yes.
Like Saul becomes Paul under Barnabas's coaching.
Yes.
It's really interesting.
Like, Paul gets all the cred, but like Barnabas is right there with him.
Oh
like,
yeah. Well, Paul becomes more famous than Barnabas.
Yeah.
The student becomes more famous than the teacher. But there's a lot of interesting things when you read into the details of that story, is that the Bible refers to Barnabas as a very devout follower of the law. So he's like somebody that a Pharisee could appreciate, who's just had this encounter. Sometimes we describe Paul as like Paul had come to realize like that he couldn't follow all the laws and he was really like messed up. And that's not how Paul describes himself. He's like, nope, I followed the laws to the T. Yeah. But what it really changed him was not like that he couldn't follow the laws. It was that he encountered the resurrected Jesus. And then Jesus was like, hey, I'm the one you're persecuting my followers. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is true. Yeah. And Barnabas is willing to go basically like befriend this guy who was worse than just the obnoxious freshman.
I was just gonna say, this is way beyond that.
Yeah, no, this is no Reggie Wayne. Like Saul is no Reggie Wayne who wants to be coached. This would be like wanting to coach somebody who had like brought a weapon on the field and like had slashed your Achilles of your previous players. Like, I mean, that's
yeah.
It takes a lot of courage on Barnabas's part to do that.
It took a lot of courage for him to do this.
Yeah, yeah. And they don't have like clear sailing from this point on either, because there's a point where they separate ways. And it's interesting because Barnabas is willing to be more flexible with a guy named John Mark and be more forgiving and merciful than Paul is. So Paul perhaps still had some growing to do
he probably did
in his own process. But, Paul's not just learning theology, or because he's got to rethink the whole Bible. We talk about deconstruction and reconstruction. Paul goes away into the desert for several years, and he's got to deconstruct his theological framework for reading, we call it the Old Testament now, but it would have just been the Bible for him, and to reconstruct it through the lens of Jesus, the resurrected Lord. And so Barnabas is helping him do that, but he's also helping him like learn how to do ministry and how to handle conflict and how to plant churches and how to love people. And like Paul's learning all of this by like how to live, how to follow Jesus, how to be a leader of leaders from Barnabas. And then he becomes more famous than Barnabas. He never forgets though, like Barnabas's influence on him, similar to you not forgetting. Now I've forgotten the name of who was the teacher in
Dr. Ubels was the teacher.
Yeah. You never forget those people who invest in you in that way. So here's the point. A lot of times, like we put the point up in the beginning of the message, but I've sort of
been holding it.
Okay. Yeah. So
hinting at it.
Like I've been laying down cards. And here's the point.
Let's do the big reveal.
All right. Your legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's who.
Ooh, it's people.
Yeah. So Ubel's legacy is you.
Yeah.
Did he write books and stuff?
He published tons and tons of articles.
Probably, yeah.
He's done research for years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a legacy too in the science world, but his legacy is you and all the other students. Barnabas's legacy is Paul. Paul's legacy is Timothy and all of us. I mean, your legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's who you leave behind. So Paul is sitting in prison, and this is, when you go over there to like Rome and stuff, and they show you like this is the prison where Paul was at. Like I'm always a little skeptical. Like, is this really the prison?
Me too.
But
I can't turn off the like skeptical part of me.
yeah, this is the problem with education. It's like, give me some evidence.
Yeah.
what's the evidence here? But maybe Paul sat in a room like this, and he's writing to Timothy, and Timothy's like his apprentice, his son in the faith, the kid that he coached. And Paul writes this. Actually, you want to read it?
Sure.
Go for it.
You've heard me teach things that have been confirmed by many reliable witnesses. Now teach these truths to other trustworthy people who will be able to pass them on to others.
How many generations are in these two sentences?
There's so many.
Yeah, so there's Paul, there's the reliable witnesses that Paul has encountered.
Relying on.
Yeah, he's relying on.
Mm-hmm.
There's Timothy, so it's 3. And then trustworthy people, there's 4 who are going to pass them on to others. Like that's 5 generations in 2 sentences. 5 generations of people coaching and being coached. This is a vision of legacy that's not just addition. It's like 1 + 1, but it's like
multiplication,
exponential multiplication. Yeah. So Paul didn't just teach Timothy. He taught Timothy how to teach others to teach. Or he taught him how to coach others. Because I think he understands something like to be an apprentice of Jesus is not to just like the singular thing. It's a team sport. Like you aren't just a player, you become a coach. Mm-hmm. So the holy habit we're talking about today is to find a coach and to be a coach.
To be a coach.
Both of those things.
And I think both of those are true for everyone. Like, I think some people sort of disqualify themselves and are like, I couldn't be a coach. And I think embedded in this is, no, like we all have something to offer to others in terms of being a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. So this morning.
It doesn't mean we have all of life figured out or we're perfect or anything.
Oh my gosh.
But we have something to offer.
Yeah. I mean, coaching can simply just be present with somebody. Like this morning, I was in court downtown, and I wasn't there because of me. I'm not in court for somebody, but I mean, this happens a lot with pastors as you go and you're a spiritual support for somebody. And the person I was in court alongside of had almost a whole courtroom full of people. And these aren't like experts in the law, but they're there to support, to invest, to walk alongside of, to coach this person with as whatever skill they do have. All right, here's the point again.
Your legacy,
you give the point.
Yeah, your legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's who.
Yeah. You see what I'm doing here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm coaching you.
Now
you're preaching.
I'm preaching.
Now you're preaching. I think back to that trip to the Middle East. I needed Max Miller. I needed Steve McKenzie. I needed Peter, that Palestinian Catholic. I needed them not just to teach me things about what to know, but I needed them to help me see the world and how to live through it. And without them, I don't, if I was just wandering around, I'm sure it would have some impact, but it's those people who invested in me that changed my life moving forward. All right, each week we've tried to give people like a really simple
things to do.
Simple thing. So here it is. Find a coach, be a coach.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Okay.
Find a coach, be a coach. I mean, this is like find somebody to have coffee with who's a little further along the way than you are in life, and find somebody to have coffee with who's a little behind you in life. Let somebody invest in you, and you invest in somebody else. All right, so we're going to give people a chance. In fact, this is the way I'm thinking about this. Like, instead of having people talk to people, I'm just going to have a moment of silent reflection. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to just sit and think through, maybe you even like open up your contacts list in your phone, or we're going to even let you scroll Facebook or your social media, like not for the influencers that are out there, but like the people that you know. Mm-hmm. Who's somebody that you could meet with this week? Who can coach you? And who can you coach? Let's just sit. Let's let God work in our spirits.